Step into a world where the sound of rain falling on a cabin roof carries ancient wisdom that naturally guides your mind toward deeper rest. Tonight's journey takes you into a hidden refuge where autumn's whispers hold secrets passed down through generations of storytellers who understood the healing power of seasonal rhythms. Nestled within these weathered walls, you'll discover the timeless practice of releasing burdens into flickering flames. As thunder rumbles in the distance, your worries will dissolve like morning mist, leaving only peace in their wake. Above you, the first drops begin to fall, each one carrying a message your body remembers from ages past. Listen closely to the symphony beginning above your head. Autumn rain speaks in frequencies that summer storms cannot match, each droplet shaped by cooler air into something extraordinary. The temperature difference creates a gentler percussion when raindrops meet surfaces, producing sound waves that naturally invite your weary mind toward rest. Step into this realm where nature's wisdom reveals itself through sound. These autumn droplets form differently than their summer cousins, condensing in air thick with the moisture of dying leaves and earth preparing for winter's rest. The cooler atmosphere shapes each drop, creating focused sounds when they meet the cabin roof above you. These acoustic patterns speak directly to your nervous system in a language older than words. Your ancestors knew this secret without understanding the mechanics behind it. When autumn rains began, entire villages would quiet their work, sensing an invitation to slow down and prepare for the contemplative months ahead. Their bodies recognized these specific sounds as signals for harvest rest, for gathering close to hearths, for releasing the urgency that summer demanded. The rain became their timekeeper, marking the transition from action to reflection. Feel how these sounds penetrate deeper than ordinary noise. Each droplet carries the essence of its journey through air enriched by decomposing leaves and cooling earth. The organic compounds released by autumn forests subtly change the character of raindrops, creating variations in their sound when they strike the cabin's weathered wood. These natural harmonics remain unavailable in any other season. The golden light filtering through these rain-heavy clouds works in harmony with the sounds, creating conditions that support your body's natural sleep preparation. Autumn's amber wavelengths naturally encourage evening rest, while the diffused light through countless raindrops becomes a gentle nudge toward the peace your body has been craving all day. Your nervous system responds to autumn rain with an intelligence that bypasses conscious thought. The consistent patter creates a natural masking effect, where the gentle sounds soften the irregular noises that would normally keep your mind alert. Unlike artificial recordings, autumn rain provides organic variations in pitch and intensity that keep your auditory system gently engaged while promoting deep relaxation. The falling leaves add another layer to this therapeutic symphony. Each leaf that breaks a raindrop's fall creates subtle variations in sound, producing a complexity that artificial rain recordings cannot replicate. These natural interruptions in the rain's rhythm create an ever-changing tapestry that holds your attention while encouraging your mind to release its grip on daily concerns. Listen to how the rain speaks differently as it encounters various surfaces around the cabin. On the wooden roof, it creates warm, resonant tones. Against the windows, higher frequencies emerge. In the nearby forest, the drops create a softer whisper as they meet leaves and earth. This acoustic diversity engages your senses fully, creating an immersive experience that promotes comprehensive relaxation. The cooler temperatures that define autumn also affect how sound travels through the air around you. These conditions create a sense of temporal stretching that naturally encourages your breathing to slow and deepen. This effect helps explain why autumn evenings feel longer and more contemplative than summer nights, even when the hours remain the same. Your cellular memory awakens to these ancient signals. Thousands of years of human evolution have shaped your response to autumn rain as a time for gathering inward, for releasing summer's intensity, for preparing both body and spirit for the deeper rest that winter demands. These sounds naturally encourage the production of calming neurotransmitters while reducing the stress hormones that modern life produces in abundance. The unique humidity levels present during autumn rains create atmospheric conditions that enhance the therapeutic properties of each sound. Higher humidity carries sound waves more efficiently while also creating negative ions in the air around you. These ions, generated as raindrops break apart upon impact, naturally promote feelings of calm and well-being that artificial environments cannot replicate. Feel how your breathing naturally begins to synchronize with the rain's rhythm. The consistent pattern of droplets hitting the roof above creates a natural meditation guide, encouraging the slow, deep breaths that signal to your nervous system that safety has arrived. This synchronization happens automatically, requiring no conscious effort, as your body recognizes and responds to the ancient patterns embedded in autumn's song. Within these gentle frequencies lies your pathway to the brain state where conscious worry dissolves into peaceful awareness. Autumn rain naturally guides your mind toward this restorative frequency, creating conditions where deep sleep becomes inevitable rather than elusive. The rain serves as nature's tuning fork, aligning your thoughts with the rhythms that promote healing and renewal. As these therapeutic sounds surround you, notice how they seem to grow richer and more enveloping. The weathered walls around you begin to work their own quiet magic, transforming these healing frequencies into something even more profound. Cross the threshold into this sacred refuge where every weathered board holds memories of countless storms weathered and seasons witnessed. The cabin wraps around you like an ancient embrace, its aged timber walls creating more than mere shelter from autumn's gentle assault. Each plank bears the wisdom of decades, their surfaces worn smooth by time and touched by countless hands seeking the same peace you now pursue. Feel how the wood beneath your fingertips carries stories written in grain and knot. These weathered boards have absorbed years of rain songs, each storm leaving its presence embedded in the timber. The aged materials respond to tonight's rainfall with a warmth born from this accumulated memory, creating an atmosphere that synthetic structures cannot replicate. The cabin breathes with you, its wooden frame settling gently in rhythm with the changing weather. Step deeper into this sanctuary where comfort meets ancient knowing. Wood naturally embraces the sounds around you, softening the sharper edges of each raindrop's impact while allowing the deeper, more soothing tones to fill the space. Unlike the cold reflection of concrete or the metallic reverberations of steel, these cabin walls welcome sound and transform it into something gentler. The cabin's aged timber has developed natural variations through years of seasonal expansion and contraction, creating subtle differences in how sound moves through the space. These earned imperfections generate the organic variations that keep your senses gently engaged while promoting deep relaxation. Each board connects to its neighbors through joints that have loosened just enough over the years to allow the cabin to respond naturally to the rain's rhythm. Rest your hand against the cabin wall and feel the gentle vibrations traveling through the wood grain. The timber conducts the rain's soothing patterns directly into your body through touch as well as sound. The slight gaps between boards, created by decades of seasonal movement, allow the structure to resonate with tonight's rainfall in harmonies impossible in newer construction. The rustic textures surrounding you ground anxious thoughts through pathways deeper than conscious awareness. Your fingers trace the rough bark still clinging to log supports, connecting with cellular memories of safety found in forest shelters. The uneven surfaces of hand-hewn beams trigger responses that bypass mental chatter, speaking directly to the primitive brain centers responsible for recognizing true sanctuary. Enclosed within these natural boundaries, your nervous system receives ancient signals of protection. The cabin walls create a psychological container strong enough to hold your worries, while gentle enough to allow healing to unfold. This enclosed natural space activates evolutionary programming that recognizes wooden shelters as places where vulnerability becomes acceptable, where the guard you maintain against daily stresses can finally lower. Notice how the cabin's imperfections enhance rather than diminish its therapeutic power. The slight sag in the roofline creates pockets where raindrops gather before releasing in larger drops, adding percussion variations to the steady rainfall pattern. Gaps between floorboards allow subtle connections to the earth below, creating energy variations that your body recognizes as signals of connection to the natural world. The aged materials absorb more than harsh sounds. They also create a buffer against the constant stimulation that follows you from daily life. Wood's natural density and organic composition provide respite from electronic noise, allowing your nervous system to experience a quietude it rarely encounters in modern environments. Within these walls, your thoughts naturally slow as they align with the deeper rhythms present in this living shelter. Feel how the cabin's proportions embrace you without overwhelming. The ceiling height matches ancient measurements based on human scale, creating a sense of intimate vastness that satisfies both the need for space and the desire for containment. These dimensions, refined over centuries of human shelter building, trigger subconscious responses of safety that modern construction rarely achieves. The aromatic compounds released by aged wood add another layer to the cabin's therapeutic environment. Natural essences, slowly exhaled by the timber over decades, create an atmosphere that promotes calm while reducing stress. You breathe in the essence of forests past, each inhalation carrying messages that speak to your most primitive healing systems. Your heartbeat naturally synchronizes with the cabin's own rhythms as the wooden structure responds to tonight's changing weather. The slight creaking of joints and the gentle settling sounds become part of the rain's symphony, adding organic percussion that artificial environments cannot provide. These sounds of a living structure adapting to its environment trigger deep associations with safety and shelter earned through humanity's long relationship with wooden sanctuaries. The cabin's natural properties work in harmony with its comforting presence. Wood naturally helps regulate temperature and humidity, creating microclimates within the space that support optimal conditions for rest. As rain cools the air outside, the cabin's warmth maintains a gentle embrace that encourages physical relaxation, promoting the conditions necessary for deep sleep. Window frames weathered by countless storms filter the golden autumn light into frequencies that support your body's natural evening rhythms. The slight warping of old glass creates gentle effects that soften harsh light, while the patina on wooden frames absorbs glare and mellows edges. Through these ancient portals, you witness the rain-soaked forest without the sensory overwhelm that modern environments often create. The cabin transforms into more than shelter. It becomes a cocoon of comfort that isolates you from stress while immersing you in healing sounds. Every weathered board, every aged joint, every imperfection earned through seasons of service contributes to this embrace. The structure itself becomes an instrument played by the rain, generating harmonies that speak directly to your nervous system's deepest need for peace. Within these protective walls, your body begins to recognize safety signals that allow true rest to approach. The cabin's ability to create this perfect sanctuary stems from its organic construction and decades of weathering, offering your weary system the refuge it needs. As you settle deeper into this wooden embrace, something remarkable begins to stir within your body's deepest systems, preparing for a transformation that happens beyond the reach of conscious thought. Your body's ancient wisdom awakens as the rain's therapeutic frequencies begin their gentle work. Beneath your conscious awareness, a profound transformation unfolds as your nervous system recognizes these healing sounds and responds with changes that reach into the deepest layers of your being. Every nerve fiber that has carried tension through endless days of modern stress now receives new instructions, whispered through sound waves that speak a language older than civilization itself. Feel your breath naturally deepen as the rain's rhythm guides your body toward its natural state of rest. The consistent patter above creates an environment where stress signals cannot take root. Each raindrop's impact sends gentle vibrations through the cabin structure and into your body, communicating directly with your nervous system through pathways that bypass anxious thought. These messages of safety travel from your skin to your brain, carrying news that peace has finally arrived. Your body's rest and recovery system awakens like a sleeping giant, stirring from the dormancy imposed by constant stimulation. The rain's gentle percussion creates anchors that allow this healing system to override the stress responses that have dominated your physiology for far too long. Blood vessels relax as your heart rate naturally slows to match the rain's tempo. Digestive processes resume their gentle work as stress hormones begin their retreat from tissues that have held them prisoner. Witness the remarkable release beginning in your muscle fibers as rhythmic rain patterns penetrate deep into areas where tension has made its home. The consistent frequency creates a natural synchronization where your body's rhythms align with the rain's gentle patterns. Tight shoulders release their grip as the rain's percussion reaches knots that conscious effort could not touch. Your jaw unclenches, your fists unfurl, and muscles you forgot you were holding release their vigilant guard. The combination of rain sounds with intentional breathing creates changes that reach beyond what either could accomplish alone. As you breathe in rhythm with the gentle storm, your brain naturally produces calming compounds that promote deep relaxation. This natural process operates without effort, guided by millions of years of evolutionary wisdom about what truly promotes healing rest. Your body remembers how to create its own peace. Guided visualization amplifies these natural healing properties beyond what rain alone could accomplish. As you imagine the storm washing away your accumulated worries, your brain creates new pathways that connect the sensation of rain with the experience of release. These pathways strengthen each time you return to this practice, creating mental highways that lead more directly to states of profound relaxation. Your thinking mind, the region responsible for worry and planning, receives gentle signals to power down as deeper brain rhythms begin to dominate your neural landscape. The rain's patterns naturally guide your awareness toward frequencies associated with deep meditation and the twilight state before sleep. Mental resistance that once seemed insurmountable dissolves under this patient, rhythmic influence. The visualization techniques work in harmony with the rain's natural properties, creating a synergy that transforms anxiety into anticipation of rest. As you mentally place your worries into the storm's care, your brain processes these images as real experiences, triggering the same responses that would occur if you were physically releasing burdens. This creates embodied experiences of letting go that reach far beyond imagination into actual change. Your body responds to these combined signals by adjusting toward sleep-promoting rhythms. Natural sleep compounds increase while stress hormones wind down, creating the environment necessary for restorative rest. The rain's consistent presence masks irregular sounds that would normally trigger alertness, while its organic variations prevent the habituation that would reduce its effectiveness over time. Deep within your brain, ancient circuits recognize the safety signals embedded in autumn rain's gentle signature. These primitive networks, developed long before language or conscious thought, govern your most fundamental survival responses. They interpret the rain's gentle consistency as evidence that no immediate threats require vigilance, permitting the deep relaxation necessary for healing and emotional processing. Your body's stress response system begins its graceful shift toward rest and recovery. Heart rhythms become more coherent, creating optimal conditions for both physical healing and emotional regulation. Blood pressure drops as arterial walls relax, allowing nutrients and oxygen to reach tissues that stress had deprived of adequate circulation. The cascade continues as your brain releases natural compounds that create feelings of well-being. These natural mood elevators flood your system in response to the rain's therapeutic frequencies, creating a sense of peace that promotes both relaxation and healing. Pain signals that stress had amplified now quiet as your body's natural regulation systems restore their proper function. Feel how your sense of time begins to stretch and soften as the rain's rhythmic patterns alter your perception of temporal flow. The consistent patter creates a natural meditation timer that encourages present moment awareness while discouraging the future-focused anxiety that disrupts sleep preparation. Minutes feel like hours as your consciousness expands into the spacious present where healing occurs. Your emotional processing centers respond to the combination of rain sounds and guided visualization by releasing stored tension. Memories that carry emotional charge begin to process and integrate as your nervous system finally feels safe enough to examine and release what no longer serves. The rain becomes a therapeutic container strong enough to hold whatever emerges. The balance of calming compounds in your system shifts toward those that promote rest and recovery. The negative ions generated by falling rain reach your respiratory system, naturally promoting feelings of well-being. Your brain interprets the consistent rain patterns as signals of environmental safety, allowing natural relaxation responses to flourish. The overactive mind that once churned with endless thoughts begins to quiet as the rain's presence creates privacy from internal chatter. Mental networks associated with rumination and worry receive fewer activation signals as attention naturally shifts toward the soothing sounds surrounding you. Mental energy that once fueled anxiety redirects toward the healing processes that occur during deep rest. Your nervous system's transformation reaches completion as these changes prepare you for sleep unlike any you have experienced. The combination of rain sounds, guided visualization, and intentional breathing has created conditions where natural sleep rhythms flow freely, while stress responses remain safely dormant. Your body remembers how to rest without effort or struggle. This transformation extends beyond tonight's experience as new pathways solidify, creating templates your nervous system can access whenever you need to return to this state of profound peace. As these healing changes settle into your being, the world beyond the cabin windows begins to reveal another layer of therapeutic magic, where autumn's golden embrace waits to deepen your journey toward complete release. Through the rain-streaked windows, amber light weaves between ancient branches, creating a sanctuary that speaks directly to your soul's deepest yearnings for peace. The forest surrounding this cabin glows with autumn's golden fire, each leaf transformed into a lantern that filters the stormy light into frequencies of healing and wisdom. These warm hues reach beyond mere visual beauty to touch ancient psychological pathways that recognize golden light as a signal of safety, harvest, and the gentle approach of rest. Step deeper into this luminous cathedral where every surface gleams with the soft radiance of dying summer, transformed into autumn's gentle wisdom. The amber light filtering through countless raindrops creates an environment that naturally quiets the restless mind while encouraging the kind of deep introspection that modern life rarely permits. Your eyes drink in these golden frequencies, and your brain responds by releasing the neurochemicals associated with warmth, security, and the profound satisfaction that comes from witnessing nature's perfect transitions. Feel how these golden hues bypass your conscious defenses to speak directly to the parts of you that remember when firelight meant safety and harvest colors promised survival through winter's challenges. The psychological principle governing this response reaches back through millennia of human evolution, when golden light meant the difference between abundance and scarcity, between community gathered around fires and the dangerous isolation of cold darkness. Your nervous system recognizes these signals and responds with a deep exhale of relief. The forest's seasonal transformation mirrors the very process your weary spirit craves. Just as these trees release their summer green to embrace autumn's golden surrender, you too are invited to let go of what the warmer months demanded of you. The energy that once pushed you forward through summer's intensity now transforms into the gentle wisdom that autumn offers. Each golden leaf dancing in the rain becomes a teacher, demonstrating how release can be not loss, but transformation. Surrounded by these towering sentinels, you discover how enclosed natural spaces activate the most primitive and powerful sense of security your body can access. The forest forms living walls around this clearing, creating boundaries that your ancient brain recognizes as protection from the unknown dangers that once threatened human survival. Within this golden sanctuary, the hypervigilance that modern life demands finally has permission to rest, replaced by the deep knowing that you are held and protected by forces far older and wiser than your daily concerns. Watch how the dying beauty of autumn grants you permission to release accumulated stress, with the same graceful acceptance these trees show in releasing their leaves. The forest demonstrates that letting go is not failure but fulfillment, not ending, but preparation for renewal. Each branch that releases its burden of leaves shows you how strength can be found in surrender, how wisdom lies in recognizing when to hold on and when to let the natural cycles carry away what no longer serves. The golden sanctuary creates ideal conditions for examining the mental burdens you have carried far longer than necessary. Within this amber-lit clearing, thoughts that once seemed too dangerous to examine now feel manageable, held safely within the forest's patient embrace. The warm light transforms your internal landscape just as it transforms the physical world around you, making visible the patterns and habits that stress had hidden in shadow. Rest against one of these ancient trunks and feel how the tree's deep roots anchor not just its own massive form, but also your scattered thoughts and anxious energies. The golden light streaming through rain-heavy branches creates a visual rhythm that matches your slowing heartbeat, each shift and dance of illumination drawing your attention into the present moment where healing occurs. Your breathing naturally synchronizes with the gentle sway of golden branches as rain continues its therapeutic percussion above. The forest's own respiratory rhythm, the slow exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide that has sustained life for countless centuries, invites your lungs to remember their own natural pace. Each breath draws in air enriched by the forest's wisdom, while each exhalation releases tensions that have no place in this sacred grove. The amber light carries with it the essence of time itself, reminding you that this moment of stress, like summer's intense heat, is temporary and will naturally transform into something gentler. The forest teaches patience not through words, but through its own example of graceful adaptation to changing seasons. You witness how nature handles transition without resistance, accepting each phase as necessary preparation for what comes next. Feel how the golden canopy above creates a sense of intimate vastness, offering both the security of enclosure and the freedom of open sky glimpsed through swaying branches. This perfect balance of containment and expansion provides exactly what your overwhelmed nervous system needs: boundaries that create safety while maintaining connection to something larger than your immediate concerns. The rain transforms each surface into a mirror that reflects and multiplies the amber light, creating countless points of warm illumination that prevent your mind from fixating on any single worry or concern. This gentle visual complexity engages your attention in a way that allows deeper mental processes to unfold without interference. The golden forest becomes a natural mandala, its patterns shifting and flowing in response to wind and weather. Within this luminous sanctuary, you discover how nature provides the perfect model for examining and releasing what no longer serves your highest good. The forest shows you that death and release are not endings but transformations, not failures but fulfillment of natural law. Each golden leaf that surrenders to gravity demonstrates the courage and wisdom required to let go with grace. Your psyche responds to this golden environment by naturally opening to the possibility of change and renewal. The warm light creates psychological safety that permits examination of thoughts and patterns that harsh fluorescent lighting would make seem threatening. Within this amber sanctuary, even your deepest worries appear manageable, held within the forest's patient wisdom and transformed by its golden alchemy. The autumn forest setting works its magic because it represents nature's own demonstration of graceful release and renewal, showing you that letting go is not loss, but preparation for new growth. Each rain-washed golden surface reflects back to you the possibility of transformation, the promise that what feels like ending might actually be beginning. As this golden sanctuary completes its healing work upon your spirit, your gaze naturally turns toward the cabin's windows, where warm light flickers from within, beckoning you toward an ancient practice that has helped countless souls transform their relationship with worry itself. Draw near to the hearth where flames dance with ancient purpose, their amber tongues speaking a language your soul remembers from countless generations past. This fire holds more than wood within its embrace. It cradles the sacred practice that has freed human hearts from burden since our ancestors first learned to kindle spark from stone. Each flicker carries the wisdom of ceremonies performed across every culture that ever sought to transform suffering into smoke, to watch worries dissolve into the rising warmth that connects earth to sky. Kneel beside these glowing embers and feel how the fire's presence shifts something deep within your cellular memory. Flames have served as humanity's first sanctuary where pain could be safely offered and transformed. Celtic druids cast sorrows into Samhain fires, while Native American traditions honored the smoke that carried prayers and burdens to the spirit world. Tibetan monks release written fears into sacred flames, watching anxieties transform into ash and liberation. Your genetic memory awakens to this universal practice, recognizing fire as the great transformer that turns what burdens into what heals. The profound emotional mechanism behind flame visualization reaches far beyond mere imagination into the realm of genuine release. Your heart and mind process symbolic images with the same pathways used for actual experiences, creating real shifts in how you feel and respond. When you consciously place anxieties into these dancing flames, your spirit interprets this symbolic act as genuine release, opening pathways to relief and peace that logic alone cannot access. The fire becomes a bridge between conscious intention and deeper healing, allowing symbolic processing to create tangible emotional change. Watch how the act of consciously naming each worry activates your natural ability to process and release what no longer serves. Giving voice to anxieties transforms them from overwhelming emotions into manageable concepts that can be examined, understood, and ultimately released. Your rational mind engages with the naming while your emotional centers respond to the symbolic offering, creating a complete approach that addresses both thought and feeling. Your spirit learns to process and release burdens through this ancient practice that engages your whole being simultaneously. The fire's transformative power represents your own remarkable capacity to convert suffering into wisdom, fear into understanding, and chaos into peace. Each flame that consumes wood demonstrates the alchemical process available within your own consciousness, where negative experiences can be transformed into emotional strength and spiritual growth. The dancing light shows you that destruction and creation are not opposites, but partners in the eternal cycle of renewal. Your worries become fuel for the very fire that will warm your spirit through the long journey toward healing rest. Begin the sacred ritual by speaking the first burden that weighs upon your shoulders. Name the work stress that follows you into dreams, the financial concerns that steal sleep from your eyes, the relationship tensions that create knots in your stomach. Feel how giving voice to these anxieties immediately reduces their power over you, transforming unnamed fears into specific challenges that can be addressed. Each named worry becomes visible, tangible, manageable rather than the shapeless dread that thrives in darkness and silence. Place this first named burden into the flames and witness its transformation. The fire receives your offering with ancient hunger, consuming the energy you have invested in worry and transforming it into light and warmth that serves rather than depletes. Watch as tongues of flame wrap around your anxiety, breaking down its structure, dissolving its hold on your nervous system. The heat rises, carrying with it the essence of what once troubled you, now transformed into smoke that dissipates harmlessly into the night air. Continue this sacred practice with each accumulated stress that has made your shoulders its home. Name the perfectionism that drives you beyond healthy limits, the guilt that whispers of failures both real and imagined, the fear that tomorrow will demand more than you can possibly give. Speak each burden with gentle honesty, acknowledging its presence without judgment before offering it to the transformative power that burns before you. Feel the weight beginning to lift with each conscious act of release. The fire accepts every offering with equal grace, consuming health anxieties and work deadlines with the same transformative hunger. Family tensions dissolve into glowing embers while financial fears rise as purifying smoke toward the storm-touched sky. Social worries crackle and spark before surrendering to the flame's patient alchemy. Each release creates space within your being, room for breath to flow more freely, for shoulders to drop from their defensive positions, for the tight grip of control to finally soften. Watch the mesmerizing dance of destruction and creation as your burdens feed the very fire that warms your spirit. The flames grow brighter with each offering, their light pushing back the shadows where unnamed fears once lurked. Glowing embers pulse like slow heartbeats, each pulse marking another moment of freedom from the anxieties that once seemed permanent residents of your mind. The rising smoke carries away not just your worries, but the very patterns of thinking that created them. Feel the profound shift occurring within your chest as accumulated stress finally lifts from shoulders that have carried these burdens far too long. Your ribcage expands with each breath as space opens where tension once lived. The fire's warmth penetrates muscle fibers that had forgotten how to truly relax, melting knots of held emotion and physical strain. Your entire posture transforms as the weight of worry releases its grip on your body's architecture. The ceremony reaches its sacred completion as you recognize the profound truth that emerges from flame and smoke. This fire ritual works because it engages both your conscious intention to heal and your deeper understanding of fire as the universal transformer of what no longer serves. The symbolic processing creates lasting emotional changes, while the conscious act of naming and releasing establishes new patterns of mental freedom. Your spirit forms fresh pathways that associate fire with relief, creating internal resources you can access whenever burdens attempt to accumulate again. Breathe deeply the fire-warmed air and speak the words that will become your new reality. I am allowed to let go. Feel how these words resonate through every cell, every nerve, every memory that once insisted you must carry everything alone. The fire has shown you that release is not abandonment of responsibility, but recognition of what truly belongs to you and what can safely be transformed through ancient wisdom. The affirmation settles into your bones as natural law, supported by the evidence of what you have just experienced through flame and intention. As the fire burns lower and the last of your worries transforms into rising smoke, you discover that this sacred release has prepared you for something even more profound. The silence that follows the ceremony carries its own healing power, inviting you to discover what emerges when all external voices fade away. Within this sacred space, you discover the profound embrace of therapeutic solitude, where the absence of voices other than nature's whispers becomes your greatest teacher. The rain-touched sanctuary transforms being alone from the modern world's feared punishment into sacred medicine for your overstimulated spirit. The golden forest holds space for you to exist without performance, without explanation, without the constant negotiation that social interaction demands. Here, solitude reveals itself as the rare opportunity to reconnect with wisdom that can only emerge when external pressures finally cease their relentless demands. The modern fear of aloneness dissolves as you discover how therapeutic solitude actually strengthens mental resilience rather than weakening it. Your nervous system, freed from the hypervigilance required to navigate social dynamics, finally relaxes into its natural state of receptivity. Without the need to process facial expressions, interpret tone, or manage interpersonal energy, your brain redirects precious resources toward healing and restoration. The constant background hum of social awareness fades, replaced by the deeper rhythms of your own authentic being. Feel how the combination of rain, fire, and intentional aloneness creates unprecedented space for authentic self-discovery. The rain's therapeutic frequencies combine with solitude's gift of privacy to create conditions where suppressed emotions can safely surface without judgment or interruption. Each raindrop carries permission to feel whatever emerges, while the fire's transformative presence offers immediate tools for processing and releasing what surfaces. This powerful combination removes the barriers that prevent honest self-examination in social settings. The forest sanctuary becomes a living therapy room where nature's sounds paired with solitude allow buried feelings to emerge and seek resolution. Emotions that have hidden beneath layers of social conditioning begin to stir as the rain's consistent rhythm creates a safe container for their expression. Grief that found no welcome in busy schedules rises gently to the surface. Joy that seemed inappropriate in struggling times tentatively shows itself. Anger that social niceness suppressed finds voice in this private cathedral. The solitude provides the emotional safety net necessary for authentic feeling. Within this sacred alone time, a profound conversation begins between your conscious awareness and the unconscious wisdom that rarely finds voice in social settings. The rain creates acoustic privacy that allows internal dialogue to unfold without fear of external judgment or interruption. Thoughts that seemed too vulnerable for social sharing emerge with surprising clarity and insight. Your conscious mind finally has space to listen to the deeper knowing that constant interaction drowns out. Questions that have no external answers find internal resolution. The solitude becomes a healing dialogue partner, reflecting your thoughts back with the patience and acceptance that social relationships rarely provide. Without the need to consider another's reactions, comfort, or agenda, you explore emotional territories that remain unmapped in social contexts. The golden light filtering through rain creates perfect conditions for this internal conversation, warm enough to encourage honesty, yet gentle enough to prevent harsh self-judgment. Your psyche opens like a flower that has waited through winter for exactly these conditions. Discover how this golden sanctuary offers gifts unavailable in any social setting, no matter how supportive or loving. The complete absence of external expectations allows your authentic self to emerge without editing or performance. Thoughts flow in their natural patterns rather than being shaped by social dynamics or interpersonal considerations. Emotions express themselves in their pure form without modulation for others' comfort. The solitude becomes a laboratory for self-discovery, where experiments in authenticity carry no social risk. The weathered cabin walls hold space for explorations that would be impossible with witnesses present. You can speak aloud to absent loved ones, express feelings that social appropriateness forbids, or simply exist in states of being that social roles prohibit. The fire receives confessions that would burden friends, while the rain absorbs tears that would create discomfort in social settings. This therapeutic solitude provides the privacy necessary for complete emotional processing. Your nervous system responds to this protected aloneness by releasing tension patterns that social vigilance creates. Muscles that stay partially contracted to maintain social readiness finally surrender their guard. Facial expressions relax into natural configurations rather than socially appropriate masks. Breathing deepens as the respiratory system no longer needs to manage social energy or emotional regulation for others' benefit. The body remembers how to exist without the constant micro-adjustments that social interaction requires. The absence of social pressures allows your natural healing wisdom to emerge with surprising clarity and strength. Internal guidance systems that external voices often override begin to assert their ancient authority. Intuitive knowing that social conditioning questions finds validation in this private space. The deeper self that knows what you truly need for healing finally has permission to speak without challenge or debate from well-meaning others. Your inner wisdom emerges like a spring that has been covered by social debris. Feel how the rain's therapeutic frequencies amplify the healing potential of sacred aloneness. Each droplet that strikes the cabin roof reinforces the boundary between internal sanctuary and external demands. The storm creates acoustic walls that ensure your emotional exploration remains private and protected. Nature sounds provide the perfect background for internal dialogue, engaging enough to prevent loneliness while consistent enough to avoid distraction from deeper processing. The golden light transforms this solitude from isolation into sacred communion with your deepest self. Amber illumination creates the perfect atmosphere for introspection, warm enough to encourage emotional openness while gentle enough to prevent harsh self-examination. The forest's patient presence reminds you that solitude is nature's way, that trees grow strongest when they have space to extend roots without competition, that wisdom often emerges in quiet places far from social crowds. Your breath synchronizes with the rain's rhythm as internal barriers dissolve in this protected space. Thoughts that seem too dangerous for social sharing reveal themselves as natural human experiences worthy of acknowledgement and processing. Emotions that appeared too intense for interpersonal contexts find their proper scale within the vast container of therapeutic solitude. The aloneness becomes not empty space but fertile ground where authentic self-understanding finally has room to grow. Therapeutic solitude works its magic by removing the external pressures that prevent your natural healing wisdom from functioning optimally. Without social performance requirements or interpersonal energy management, your psyche can focus entirely on internal restoration and growth. As this profound inner work reaches its natural completion, you begin to notice how rain, fire, solitude, and golden sanctuary have woven themselves together into something far greater than the sum of their individual gifts. Every element of this rain-touched sanctuary weaves together into a tapestry of healing that encompasses your entire being. The careful orchestration of autumn rain, crackling fire, golden forest light, and sacred solitude creates an experience that reaches far beyond what any single relaxation technique could achieve. Your ears drink in the rain's therapeutic frequencies while your eyes process the amber light filtering through storm-heavy branches. Simultaneously, your skin receives the fire's radiant warmth while your nose detects the rich aromatic compounds exhaled by wet forest earth and aged timber. True relaxation emerges from this harmonious engagement of all senses working in synchronized concert, rather than the isolated stimulation that characterizes most modern relaxation approaches. Your nervous system evolved to process multiple sensory streams simultaneously, creating rich environmental assessments that determine whether safety exists and rest becomes possible. Single-sense methods often fail because they leave portions of your awareness unsatisfied and vigilant, unable to fully surrender when critical sensory channels receive no input or conflicting information. The rain's acoustic patterns provide the foundational frequency that anchors your auditory system in therapeutic rhythm, while the golden light filtering through countless droplets creates visual oscillations that naturally guide your awareness towards slower, deeper states. Your eyes track the gentle variations in amber illumination as wind moves rain-heavy branches, creating a natural form of visual engagement that promotes emotional processing. The visual complexity prevents mental fixation while maintaining enough pattern to keep your consciousness gently engaged. Feel how the fire's radiant warmth speaks directly to temperature receptors throughout your skin, triggering deep muscle relaxation that accompanies optimal thermal comfort. The heat penetrates layers of clothing and tissue to reach nerve endings that communicate thermal safety to your brain, where primitive survival circuits govern your capacity for rest. This tactile input combines with pressure sensations from your body's contact with cushions and wooden surfaces, creating a complex map of physical security that your nervous system requires for complete relaxation. Breathe deeply the aromatic symphony rising from rain-soaked earth, decomposing leaves, wood smoke, and the natural compounds released by living forest. These molecular messengers carry information that your sense of smell processes both consciously and subconsciously, triggering responses that artificial fragrances cannot replicate. Forest compounds naturally promote feelings of calm, while wood smoke activates ancestral memories of safety and community gathered around protective fires. Multiple senses working together create experiences that feel more complete and compelling than any single sensory input could achieve. When your awareness receives coordinated input from multiple channels, the resulting experience forms stronger impressions that create more lasting changes in how you feel and respond. These enhanced connections explain why this complete sensory immersion creates relaxation responses that persist long after single-sense techniques would fade from memory. Each sensory element within this carefully crafted environment supports and amplifies the therapeutic effects of all others through natural harmony that transforms individual inputs into something far more powerful than their sum. The rain's consistent rhythm provides temporal structure that helps organize visual, thermal, and aromatic experiences into coherent patterns your awareness can process efficiently. The golden light creates optimal conditions for processing the fire's warmth while making forest scents more noticeable and appealing. Your auditory awareness processes the rain's frequencies while simultaneously receiving input from visual tracking of golden light variations, creating conversations between sensory experiences that enhance both. The fire's warmth influences how your skin processes tactile information while also affecting how your nose detects and interprets forest aromatics. This sensory conversation creates feedback loops that amplify relaxation responses through multiple pathways working in harmony rather than isolation. The forest's aromatic compounds enhance your perception of the rain's therapeutic qualities while simultaneously making the fire's warmth feel more comforting and the golden light appear more beautiful. Your sense of smell's direct connections to emotional and memory centers mean that forest scents contextualize all other sensory experiences within frameworks of safety, peace, and natural healing. The molecular information carried by forest air tells your awareness that this environment supports rest and recovery. This symphony of coordinated sensory input naturally guides your awareness toward the optimal states for deep relaxation and sleep preparation. Unlike artificial attempts to force specific responses, this approach allows your natural rhythms to synchronize organically with environmental patterns that support therapeutic states. The rain provides auditory pacing, golden light offers visual rhythm, fire warmth creates thermal stability, and forest scents deliver chemical signals that all converge toward the same peaceful destination. Your nervous system responds to this complete sensory immersion by releasing the full spectrum of natural compounds associated with safety, comfort, and healing. Stress hormones decrease as multiple sensory channels confirm environmental security. Feel-good chemicals increase in response to negative ions from rain and natural compounds from forest air. Natural pain relievers release as thermal comfort and acoustic therapy combine to create feelings of well-being that artificial interventions struggle to replicate. Feel how this orchestrated experience engages your entire autonomic nervous system rather than targeting isolated responses. Your heart rate synchronizes with rain rhythms, while your breathing deepens in response to forest aromatics. Blood pressure drops as multiple sensory channels confirm safety, while muscle tension releases as thermal, acoustic, and visual inputs combine to override stress responses. Your rest and recovery system receives confirmation from every sensory channel that peace has become not just possible but inevitable. The environment creates natural redundancy that ensures relaxation responses remain stable even if individual elements fluctuate. When rain intensity varies, golden light and fire warmth maintain therapeutic consistency. If wind shifts aromatic patterns, auditory and visual elements preserve the healing atmosphere. This sensory backup prevents the fragile relaxation states that single-sense approaches often create, where any environmental change can disrupt carefully achieved calm. Your awareness integrates these multiple sensory streams into unified experiences that feel more real and compelling than any artificially created relaxation environment. The authentic complexity of rain interacting with forest, fire responding to air currents, and light filtering through natural materials creates sensory richness that artificial environments cannot replicate. Your nervous system recognizes and responds to this authenticity with deeper trust and more complete surrender. Sensory immersion works because it engages your entire nervous system rather than attempting to force relaxation through willpower or isolated techniques. Every sensory channel receives input that confirms safety and supports rest, creating comprehensive agreement that makes resistance impossible. This complete engagement creates the perfect foundation for something even more profound to unfold within your awareness. Your awareness discovers how this golden sanctuary begins the profound work of transforming sleep patterns that stress has held captive for far too long. The mental pathways that once led automatically to anxiety and restlessness now encounter gentle redirection towards states of profound peace. Your current sleep struggles stem not from physical defects, but from learned patterns of mental vigilance that this autumn refuge teaches your nervous system to abandon. Each raindrop that strikes the cabin roof carries with it the promise of transformation, offering your weary mind new possibilities for accessing the rest that has seemed so elusive. The surprising truth emerges that most sleep difficulties originate in habitual thought patterns rather than physical ailments. Your mind has learned to associate bedtime with worry, darkness with vulnerability, and silence with the intrusion of anxious thoughts. These mental habits create well-worn paths that lead directly to wakefulness when your body craves surrender. The autumn rain experience offers your nervous system a completely different route to rest, one paved with therapeutic frequencies and guided by ancient wisdom rather than modern anxiety. Feel how the combination of rain sounds, fire visualization, and intentional release works together to carve new pathways through the landscape of your mind. The rain's consistent rhythm provides a temporal framework that helps organize scattered thoughts into coherent patterns. The fire's transformative imagery engages your mind's symbolic processing centers, creating changes through metaphorical experience. The conscious act of releasing worries activates regions responsible for clear thinking while simultaneously calming areas that generate emotional reactivity. This immersive practice teaches your nervous system an entirely new language of safety and surrender that transcends the vocabulary of stress your body has been speaking for years. The rain whispers words of permission to let go, while golden forest light speaks phrases of comfort and protection. Fire crackles sentences of transformation, and weathered wood murmurs paragraphs of ancient security. Your body begins learning this new dialect of peace, storing these sensory conversations as reference points for future relaxation attempts. The changes activated by regular exposure to this type of immersive relaxation literally rewrites the automatic responses that have kept quality sleep beyond your reach. Your mind forms new connections between relaxation cues and sleep readiness, creating bridges that bypass the anxious detours that once led to midnight wakefulness. Each time you return to this practice, these pathways strengthen and deepen, making the journey to rest shorter and more direct. The stress responses that once fired automatically begin to quiet as new patterns take precedence. Your nervous system develops memory for accessing profound relaxation states without requiring external conditions to perfectly replicate tonight's experience. The template created by this autumn sanctuary becomes an internal resource that your mind can access through memory and imagination alone. The sound of any rainfall begins triggering the relaxation response learned here. The sight of firelight activates the release mechanisms practiced in this cabin. The feeling of solitude transforms from loneliness into sacred space for self-restoration. These new patterns function like internal highways that lead directly from wakefulness to rest without the detours through anxiety that once seemed mandatory. Your mind begins recognizing relaxation as a skill rather than an accident, something that can be accessed through conscious practice rather than waited for through hope. The mental framework that once supported chronic stress undergoes renovation, with new structures built to support sustainable peace and restorative sleep. The therapeutic visualization embedded in this practice creates changes that extend far beyond tonight's immediate relaxation. Your mind processes these guided images as real experiences, forming memories of successful worry release and profound peace that become templates for future reference. The fire's transformative power becomes integrated into your psychological toolkit, available whenever accumulated stress needs processing. The golden forest's wisdom gets stored as internal guidance for navigating life's inevitable challenges. Your sleep patterns transform as these new approaches become established habits rather than temporary states. The mental regions responsible for sleep initiation begin responding to different cues, recognizing safety signals embedded in this practice rather than remaining hypervigilant for potential threats. Sleep becomes deeper as your nervous system learns to trust the relaxation responses cultivated through rain, fire, and intentional release. Dreams become more restorative as emotional processing improves through regular practice of symbolic worry release. The lasting changes created by this experience reach into daytime functioning as well as nighttime rest. Stress responses that once triggered automatically throughout daily activities begin requiring more provocation to activate. Your baseline calm level shifts toward peace as your nervous system integrates the deep relaxation templates learned in this autumn sanctuary. Anxiety patterns that seemed permanent start showing flexibility as new options become available. Your body remembers the profound safety felt within this golden refuge, storing sensory memories that can be accessed whenever modern life threatens to overwhelm your peace. The warmth of firelight becomes an internal resource for combating feelings of cold isolation. The rhythm of rain transforms into an inner metronome for pacing breath and heartbeat toward relaxation. The forest's patient presence develops into internal wisdom that knows how to wait through difficult emotions until they naturally transform. The changes initiated tonight continue working long after the rain stops falling. Your mind's ability to produce peaceful states increases as patterns associated with relaxation strengthen through repeated activation. Stress responses shift toward healthier rhythms as your body learns new scheduling based on natural cycles rather than artificial urgency. Mental balance improves as networks supporting peace receive more frequent activation than circuits maintaining vigilance. This transformation works by providing your nervous system with a completely new reference point for what deep relaxation actually feels like, replacing vague concepts of peace with embodied experiences of profound rest. Your mind now possesses concrete memories of surrender, specific patterns associated with safety, and detailed sensory templates for accessing therapeutic states. The nervous system that once knew only degrees of alertness now recognizes genuine relaxation as a distinct and achievable state. Your approach to sleep undergoes fundamental restructuring as these new patterns integrate into unconscious functioning. The mental habits that once led to restless nights encounter gentle but persistent redirection toward the pathways carved by rain, fire, and intentional release. Your mind's relationship with rest evolves from desperate seeking to natural flowing, from forced effort to graceful surrender. These transformed patterns connect you to something far greater than individual healing, awakening knowledge that flows through generations of human experience with rest and renewal. Touch the weathered wood beneath your fingers and feel the whispered stories of countless generations who found sanctuary within walls just like these. Your ancestors understood something that modern life has deliberately forgotten, something your bones still remember even when your mind has lost the words. They knew that rest flows from rhythm, that peace emerges from honoring the seasons that move through both earth and soul. This cabin experience awakens wisdom that flows through your bloodline, connecting you to knowledge older than written history, yet newer than your next breath. Your genetic memory stirs as firelight dances across ancient patterns embedded in your cellular structure. The warmth speaks languages your DNA learned millennia ago, when survival depended on reading the subtle signs of safety that fire provides. Your ancestors gathered around flames just like these, sharing stories that carried healing through harsh winters, releasing burdens into smoke that rose toward star-scattered skies. Their bodies knew what yours is remembering tonight, that fire transforms more than wood, that flames possess the power to consume worry and birth peace from ash. Modern life has severed the threads that once connected human hearts to seasonal rhythms, creating an epidemic of restlessness that spreads through sleeping minds like fog through valleys. Your ancestors moved with autumn's gentle invitation to slow down, to release summer's intensity, to prepare for winter's contemplative embrace. They understood that each season carries its own medicine, that autumn rain sings different songs than spring storms. Their bodies aligned with natural cycles that your circadian rhythms still recognize, even though electric lights and artificial schedules have tried to erase these ancient patterns. Feel how disconnection from these natural rhythms has created the very sleep struggles that brought you seeking rest tonight. The constant stimulation of modern existence keeps your nervous system locked in states of vigilance that your ancestors reserved for genuine danger. Electric lights fool your brain into thinking dawn never comes, while artificial sounds mask the therapeutic frequencies that nature provides. Your body searches for rhythms it cannot find in cities that never sleep, seeking the seasonal guidance that concrete and steel cannot provide. The ancient practices of fire, solitude, and seasonal awareness work together to awaken healing capacities that lie dormant within your modern nervous system. Your ancestors knew that fire served as more than light source or heat provider, that flames carried the power to transform suffering into smoke that dissipates harmlessly into night air. They understood that solitude offers gifts unavailable in social settings, that certain healing can only occur when external pressures cease their demands. They lived by seasonal wisdom that recognized autumn as nature's invitation to release what no longer serves. Your genetic memory responds to these primal comfort signals with recognition deeper than conscious thought. The sound of rain on wooden roofs speaks to neural pathways carved by thousands of generations who found safety in similar shelters. Forest scents trigger ancestral memories of abundance and security, while fire's warmth activates genetic programs designed to promote rest and healing. These signals bypass modern mental chatter to communicate directly with the ancient wisdom centers that govern your deepest responses to safety and threat. The practice honors both your personal healing journey and the ancestral wisdom that flows through your bloodline like an underground river. Each worry you place into the flames connects you to countless ancestors who transformed their burdens through similar rituals. Every breath you synchronize with rain rhythms links you to generations who found peace in seasonal transitions. Your individual healing becomes part of a larger story that includes every soul who ever sought rest beside a fire, while autumn rain whispered lullabies through forest leaves. Traditional cultures approached rest through practices that honored seasonal transitions as sacred passages rather than inconveniences to overcome. They understood that autumn's dying light signals the body to prepare for deeper sleep, that shorter days invite longer dreams. Harvest celebrations marked not just agricultural success but spiritual preparation for winter's contemplative months. These communities gathered around fires to share stories that transformed daily struggles into wisdom, releasing individual burdens into collective healing. Celtic ancestors welcomed autumn with rituals that honored both death and renewal, recognizing that letting go creates space for new growth. They understood that seasonal transitions offer opportunities for spiritual cleansing, times when the veil between conscious and unconscious becomes thin enough for deep healing to occur. Their wisdom flows seamlessly into Norse traditions that celebrated autumn as a time for storytelling and reflection, when communities gathered close to share knowledge that would sustain them through winter's challenges. These northern peoples understood how darkness could nurture rather than threaten, how the longest nights carried the deepest dreams. Greek traditions wove similar understanding through their honoring of autumn as Persephone's descent into the underworld, a journey toward inner wisdom that required temporary withdrawal from external demands. Your body carries the cellular memory of these seasonal practices, recognizing autumn rain as an invitation to slow down and turn inward. The genetic programming inherited from ancestors who survived by aligning with natural rhythms still influences your nervous system's responses to seasonal changes. Your DNA remembers what modern culture has forgotten, that rest emerges from surrender rather than effort, that peace flows from alignment with natural cycles rather than resistance to them. The cabin sanctuary works because it awakens the deep knowing embedded in your genetic structure that rest is not earned through exhaustion, but inherited as your birthright. Your ancestors understood that sleep belongs to you as naturally as breath, that rest requires no justification or achievement to access. They knew that the body possesses innate wisdom about when to work and when to rest, when to engage and when to withdraw. This knowledge flows through your bloodline like a river that modern life has temporarily dammed but never truly stopped. Tonight's experience reconnects you with timeless sources of peace that exist beyond individual achievement or failure. The fire that warms your spirit burns with the same flame that comforted your ancestors. The rain that speaks to your soul carries the same messages of renewal that guided generations before you. The solitude that heals your heart offers the same gifts of self-discovery that sustained countless seekers who found wisdom in quiet places. Your connection to ancestral wisdom transforms individual struggle into participation in a larger story of human resilience and renewal. The peace you find tonight honors not only your personal need for rest, but also the countless generations who carved pathways to healing that you now walk. Their wisdom becomes your inheritance, their practices become your medicine, their understanding becomes your birthright. All these elements now converge within your being as rain, fire, release, and ancient wisdom prepare to carry you across the threshold where conscious effort finally surrenders to the deeper currents that have been waiting to embrace your weary soul. Within this sacred space, the gateway to restorative dreams begins to open as all conscious effort dissolves into the gentle embrace of sleep that your weary soul has been seeking through countless restless nights. This moment arrives as the culmination of everything you have experienced within this golden sanctuary, where autumn rain's therapeutic frequencies merge with fire's transformative power, where ancestral wisdom flows through weathered wood, and where sacred solitude has cleared space for the deepest healing to unfold. The rain above continues its patient percussion, each droplet carrying you closer to the restorative depths where true renewal awaits your surrendering spirit. The beautiful paradox reveals itself in this sacred transition, where the deepest sleep emerges not from desperate forcing or anxious striving, but from complete surrender to the natural processes that govern rest and restoration. Your body has been prepared through rain's gentle guidance, your mind has been cleared through fire's alchemical power, and your spirit has been opened through solitude's sacred gifts. The harder you once struggled against sleeplessness, the more elusive rest became. Tonight, you discover that sleep flows toward you like a gentle river when resistance finally melts away beneath autumn's patient wisdom. Feel how all elements of this healing journey now work together in perfect harmony, creating currents that carry you naturally into sleep's most restorative stages. The rain's rhythm synchronizes with your heartbeat while golden forest light guides your awareness toward deeper states of rest. Fire's warmth penetrates muscle fibers that have held tension for far too long, while forest scents naturally promote profound healing. The weathered cabin walls hold space for your complete vulnerability as conscious control gracefully dissolves into nature's ancient intelligence. Witness the profound shift occurring within your consciousness as your mind finally releases its desperate grip on the day's accumulated concerns. Thoughts that once circled like restless birds now settle into peaceful roosts within the forest's patient branches. Worries that demanded constant attention transform into whispers that fade beneath rain's gentle percussion. The mental vigilance that kept you alert through countless difficulties recognizes that this sanctuary requires no protection, that safety has been established through elements more powerful than individual effort. This type of sleep differs fundamentally from the ordinary rest that merely refreshes tired bodies without touching deeper layers of restoration. The sleep approaching you now actively heals wounds that wakefulness cannot reach, processing emotions too complex for conscious understanding, integrating experiences too profound for rational analysis. Your nervous system prepares to enter repair modes unavailable during lighter sleep, naturally releasing compounds that restore cellular damage while clearing accumulated stress from neural pathways. Dreams will carry you through landscapes where symbolic healing occurs beyond conscious direction. Your breathing naturally deepens as the transition begins, each inhalation drawing in air enriched by forest wisdom, while each exhalation releases tensions that no longer serve your highest good. The golden light filtering through rain-heavy branches creates visual rhythms that guide your consciousness toward the liminal space between waking and sleeping. Fire's gentle crackling provides temporal anchors that prevent anxious thoughts from hijacking the natural descent into rest. The cabin's embrace grows more complete as your awareness of external boundaries softly dissolves. The rain's therapeutic frequencies now penetrate deeper layers of consciousness, reaching the neural networks that govern the most fundamental aspects of rest and restoration. Your awareness shifts from anxious chatter through relaxed peace into profound tranquility. The consistent patter creates acoustic privacy that shields your sleeping mind from disturbances while maintaining connection to nature's healing presence. Each raindrop carries messages of permission to let go completely, to trust in processes older and wiser than individual understanding. Muscles throughout your body release their vigilant holdings as warmth from the hearth penetrates tissues that stress had hardened into protective armor. Your shoulders drop from positions they held all day, your jaw unclenches from tensions you no longer remember creating, your hands unfurl from fists that gripped worries now dissolved in flame. The physical architecture of anxiety dismantles itself as sleep's approach signals safety to every cell and fiber that once stood guard against imagined threats. Feel how your consciousness begins its gentle descent through layers of awareness, moving from surface concerns toward the deeper currents where healing flows like underground rivers. The golden forest holds space for this sacred journey, while rain continues its patient blessing of the transition. Thoughts become less distinct, boundaries between self and sanctuary grow soft, and the urgency that once drove your mind toward constant activity yields to rhythms more ancient than civilization itself. Your heart rate synchronizes with rain patterns that speak directly to neural pathways governing rest, while your breathing matches the forest's own respiratory cycles of oxygen and renewal. The fire's warmth creates thermal conditions that promote deep muscle relaxation necessary for restorative sleep stages. Forest aromatics continue their molecular conversations with receptors that translate natural sense into profound peace. Every sense receives confirmation that safety has been established and healing can proceed without interference. The profound truth emerges through layers of consciousness now gentle as morning mist. You have earned this rest not through struggle or achievement, but through the simple yet courageous act of allowing yourself to receive nature's freely given gifts. The worthiness you sought through endless effort was always present, waiting for recognition rather than creation. Your ancestors knew this truth and passed it through bloodlines that remember even when minds forget. Rest belongs to you as naturally as breath, as inevitably as seasons, as certainly as rain returns to nourish the earth. Conscious awareness begins its graceful dissolution into the peaceful dreams that await beyond the threshold of ordinary thought. The rain carries you deeper into states where symbolic healing occurs through images and metaphors that bypass rational analysis. Your sleeping mind will wander through landscapes where burdens transform into blessings, where fears become wisdom, where the accumulated tensions of daily existence dissolve into the vast peace that underlies all temporary disturbances. Let the final affirmation settle into every cell as consciousness completes its journey toward restorative depths. You are allowed to let go completely. Permission flows through your being like warm honey, dissolving the last vestiges of resistance that once prevented full surrender to sleep's healing embrace. The rain whispers agreement while fire crackles blessing and forest holds eternal space for your complete release into the dreams that will restore what wakefulness could not heal. As sleep's gentle currents carry you beyond the threshold of conscious thought, know that this sanctuary becomes part of you, woven into memory where it will remain accessible whenever peace calls to your weary spirit. The golden threads of this experience weave themselves permanently into the fabric of your being, creating pathways back to peace that remain open whenever life's storms threaten to overwhelm your spirit. This cabin sanctuary lives within you now, its weathered walls holding space for your return, while rain-soaked timber remembers the weight of worries you released into flame and smoke. The rain will always be falling in this timeless refuge, its therapeutic frequencies waiting to guide your weary spirit toward restoration. The fire will always be crackling with ancient hunger for your accumulated burdens, ready to transform suffering into rising smoke that carries healing toward star-scattered skies. Your permission to let go grows stronger with each return to this sacred threshold. Let the whispers of autumn rain remind you that true rest flows naturally to those who remember this simple truth. Peace waits patiently within reach, accessible through the ancient practice of coming home to yourself.